Bonjour mon petit chiflet, Amber here, and I am back with a tag video. Not just any tag video, my very own tag video. Oh wait, actually, I almost forgot. Oh, you can't even see it. Can you see my hat? It is Hollow Week, and also with the context, whatever, of this video, I felt like this was extremely appropriate. It is no secret here on this channel that Once Upon a Time is my favorite show in the whole world. But if you're new here, hello, Once Upon a Time is my favorite show in the whole world. And I was actually minding my business, preparing to go to bed, watching Once, as I do almost every night, when this idea came to me. So I bring you today on this fine October morning the Once Upon a book tag. I don't know if anyone's ever done a Once Upon a Time book tag before, but I also don't care. So anywho, like I said, Once Upon a Time is my absolute favorite show, and it has been since day one. I remember seeing the preview for the first time. I was like, first of all, I love Jennifer Goodwin so much. I was always a really big fan of hers, and she was in the show. This is my thought process watching the preview for the first time. I'm like, Ginny Good is playing Snow White? Fairy tale characters in our world, a curse, a savior, what's going on? And it's been a wrap ever since. Basically, I have two Once Upon a Time tattoos. I have it's like my Regina Rumpel OG Villains tattoo, Regina's apple and the dark one dagger. And I also have Belle's chipped cup over here. One of my oldest friends and I got matching tattoos on a whim like 2 years ago, because she also loves the show. One of the things that 2020 and Corona has stolen from me has been my Once conventions. I've been to several, the first of which was in Vancouver, best trip of my life. And this cast are some of the nicest, most genuine people I've ever met in my life. Lana Parrilla is my queen. Bax Mater is my queen. Colin O'Donoghue is the most beautiful man I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna stop talking because I have a few prompts to get through, and I've already been talking about this show for 3 minutes. Also, in case you wanted to know, season 3 part A, I guess, is my favorite season. That's when they're in Neverland. And hi, let's get started. I worked really hard on naming each of these questions, each of these prompts. The first one is Welcome to Storybrooke. For that, name a book with magic that is also in our world. So basically, we have two worlds that overlap, like the Enchanted Forest and Storybrooke, Maine. Does that make sense? And for that one, I chose Star Daughter by Shweta Thakrar. I think I was reading this at the time. Sheetal lives in New Jersey, but she has to go to her mother's cosmic realm for this contest and to get the star's blood to save her father. So we are in two different worlds, and magic is present in both of them. Also, I just wanted to show this cover off again. Next, we have The Dark Curse. Mention a book featuring powerful magic. I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot to choose a book for this prompt until I was setting up just now. So, the book I chose is one of my most recent reads. I mean, it still qualifies, but also I should warn you now, like most things that I do, I have multiple answers for a lot of these because I can't just pick one. And two, as always, there are some books I'm gonna have to insert because I have no idea where the book is. Anyway, for The Dark Curse, I chose The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. I love this book, and as the title implies, there's some magic going on, and I think anytime blood magic of any sort is utilized, that can absolutely be considered powerful magic, especially the way things come to a head at the end and how the main issue is sort of fought and resolved required a lot of powerful magic. The next prompt is, I will always find you. Sorry, I will always find you, which is the Charming's catchphrase. For that, I want to see a book where the characters go on an adventure of sorts to find something, whether it's an object or a person or whatever. For that, I chose two books: Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim and Jackpot by Nick Stone, which are two vastly different books, but still both require like these grand adventures. In Spin the Dawn, obviously Maya and Idan are searching for the three elements for the wedding dresses for Lady Sarnai, the laughter of the sun, the tears of the moon, and the blood of the stars. And this takes us on this grand adventure across the Silk Road. And then in Jackpot we have Rico and, what is his name? I can't remember right now. Zan, searching for the owner of the winning jackpot ticket. Is that what I said? Lottery ticket, the winning lottery ticket. And this whole book is basically their quest to find them and hopefully get Rico some money. Okay, so next we have The Truest Believer. I could have worn that shirt too. And that is, mention a book with a cinnamon roll, pure-hearted character who sees the best in people. And I have two for that. The first one, when I thought of this prompt, the first person I thought of was Red from Get a Life, Chloe Brown. Yes, he has issues trusting, but he is such a cinnamon roll character, and the way he sees the best in Chloe and wants to bring the best out of Chloe, I just love him so much. And is it too soon to reread that book? I don't think it is. And the second one, actually, the character that I'm mentioning is Prince Alizade from the City of Brass, specifically the City of Brass, because in this book specifically, Ali is very optimistic and sees the best in everyone and he's fighting so much for everyone, the Shafit, to have their equal rights and to be people, and he trusts maybe sometimes all the wrong people, but it's because he genuinely just wants the best for everybody, and I love him too. I'm reading The Empire of Gold right now, and my boy is going through it. Right, so the next three are kind of optional, and by that I mean they all revolve around ships, and since there are three, I don't expect you to do all three. If you do all three, bless. But you can obviously pick which one resonates more, which one you want to talk about more, and go with that. I'm going to do all three. Why? Because it's my tag, and I wouldn't have written them all down if I didn't want to. First and foremost, we have CaptainSwan / OutlawQueen. I couldn't choose which one I loved more, and that is, mention a book with a couple you love. Obviously, easy peasy. So I have several. I could have listed so many, honestly. I could have listed We Hunt the Flame, obviously, and like Blood Witch, but the couples I love in both of those, I don't think they're aware that they're couples yet, you know? Zephyr and Nasir had their moment in book one, but like they are still mortal enemies. And then Adwin and Isolde in Blood Witch, but I didn't mention them. Anyway, for this prompt I chose one, A Prince on Paper by Alyssa Cole. Jojo and Nia still own my whole heart. I still have to finish reading the Reluctant Royal series, but that's still my favorite one so far. I just love their relationship. And I'm also a sucker for any sort of royal romance book where the main guy, the love interest, reminds me of Prince Harry. This book gives me strong Harry and Meghan vibes, and I love it. I also chose Sweet Black Waves by Christina Perez. Shock. I generally, when I talk about this series, I talk about how much it physically hurt me, and while that's true, it's mostly because of book one and how much I love Tristan and Branwen. And yeah, like the whole insta-lovey aspect is kind of irritating, but I always took that as, because like fate is such a strong part of this story, that was like the magical element, like their lives were fated to cross each other's. I don't want to talk about them anymore because I'm gonna get upset. And then we have actually a book I rarely mention in tag videos, Children of Virtue and Vengeance, and specifically Zaylee and Rowan. Now, if there's anything you've gotten about me talking about CVV, is that I adore Rowan. He's the only character in this series, aside from Zaylee, that I don't want dead. I just don't want that to be messed up, and it might be. And then I went full out for this one. Next is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. I love Lou Reed. I love Lou and Reed. That's all that needs to be said. I actually also appreciate how their relationship developed and went through it in Blood and Honey, but I'm going to mention book one, Serpent and Dove. I just love the banter between them, and I just love how completely opposite they are, and just book 3 is gonna be a mess. And last but not least, it's one of my favorite books of all time ever, and y'all shouldn't be surprised. You should be surprised that it took this long for me to mention it, and it's The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Athia. Shazi and Khalid are my OTP. I don't think anything else needs to be said. Their relationship will always be one of my favorites ever in books. That's it. So next we have what I'm calling RegalHuntsman. I don't know whatever that was between Regina and Graham was actually called, but we're calling it RegalHuntsman. And that one is a book with a relationship you hated. I have two for this one. The first one, Jesus Christ, is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. What was the reason? Why would no. I don't understand why there had to be a relationship in this book, a romance in this book, and why it had to be between the characters that it was between. But I would like a refund. Absolutely not. And then we have A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. So that whole situation with Kenan, I mean, it started in book one, which was irritating, but like, he can choke and die a painful death. I don't know what else can be said, but without spoiling anything, but one, I didn't like their little whatever, Laya and Kenan's little whatever in book one. And then I'm like, oh, this is a thing that's going to continue. And continue it did, and I hated every second of it. And I mean, I feel justified in hating every second of it. And the last of this ship war, I guess, SleepingWarrior, I did hit the Google, and that is what they're called, Aurora and Mulan, which should have been a thing, and that's why it's here, because it's a book with a ship that's not canon, but you're kind of into it. I have a couple, and while I am happy with the relationship that they end up in, like, I kind of, if someone wrote some fan fiction featuring this other one, I'd read it, you know? The first one, I guess it can't be considered not canon, because I almost spoiled a big plot line of the book, didn't I? But I guess, is it spoiling, because it was already arranged in book one? Whatever. In Kingdom of Copper, look, I I wasn't completely like upset with our good sis Nari and Diru, Montadir. Yes, they are both in love with other people, but there was something, you know? Yeah, was it just physical attraction? Perhaps. Am I mad at that? No. No, not at all. Their little flirtations or whatever we're gonna call them. That little moment in the garden, I'm like, was it the garden? Whatever. I'm like, I'm not mad at it. The next one is A Curse of the Dark and Lonely. I wouldn't have been mad at Harper and Gray. I'm just gonna be really real with you. Perhaps it's because, like I always say, Harper, Gray, and Ren remind me of Mary, Bash, and Francis from Rain. I don't know if that's intentional or not. Harper and Gray absolutely remind me of that Mary and Bash element, and you know, if you've seen Rain, you know how that was. There was a time where she loved both brothers. Good for you. Me too, honestly. Okay, so next we have Wind Witch by Susan Dennard, and I can't even say whether or not it's canon because I don't know what Susan's gonna do in this last book. Safi and Caden. I like it. Yes, I am team Safi and Merrick all day, but like either situation, any route she decides to go down, I support it. I support it because I really like Caden in the Hellbards, so fight me. But Basil owns my heart in this series. Okay, great. Last but not least, we have Legendary / Finale by Stephanie Garber and Tella and Jax. I really love Jax. And I was so disappointed with his storyline in book 3 and how his character was kind of tossed to the side. Yeah, I get it that Tella and Legend are like in game. I really like the Jax storyline with Tella, like their relationship and how, I don't want to spoil it, but like this is me trying not to spoil it, but I like how he was forced, not forced, that doesn't sound right, but like Jax deserves better. I can't really explain it without spoiling the whole series, but the fact that he did end up like loving Tella and they were cute together. I don't care. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. The next prompt is Granny's Diner, and that is a book with good food. And that's actually, it was a little difficult honestly, because usually I read books that are very fantasy, very life or death, perilous situations. I was going to mention Star Daughter again because a lot of that book made me feel really hungry and really intrigued by all the food mentioned. But I'm also going to mention, or actually mention, With Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. Imani is an aspiring chef, and so a lot of the book revolves around food. There are actual recipes in the book that I want to try still to this day. Everything just sounds so good, the food. And then they go to Spain, right? And just, oh, the whole book made me so hungry. And now that I mentioned it, I do really want to go back so that I can try some of the recipes in the book. Yum. Next is The Dark One, and that is name a book with a powerful or twisted villain. Don't I have a few? First and foremost, we have A Reaper at the Gates. Karis as well as the Nightbringer are both powerful, and I was gonna say they're both twisted. And while yes, I honestly feel like even though I understand her, Karis is a lot more twisted than the Nightbringer. Is that true? Am I making that up? Or do I just kind of like sympathize with him more. I mean, I get it. I get it on both counts, but y'all? I feel like she's almost a lot more ruthless, you know? Next I have Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Caesar. And when you realize who the villain is / are, and while on one count I kind of saw it coming, not to that extent though, honestly, a little bit, but when I realized I was right, I was like, huh? So the villainry, I guess, the horror aspect of this is actually really twisted when you think about it. It's vague, but it's okay. Because I don't want to tell you the whole story. And actually, because I'm reading it right now, I didn't write this down when I made this list, but since I'm reading it right now, I'm going to go with The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. Like, this book specifically. Manisa, it's off the deep end. She was already off the deep end, but like, she done climbed back up and did another flying leap off the deep end. The things this woman is willing to do, are the things she's willing to do, is unsettling. And the sad part is, like, I just said that I got why Karis is the way that she is. I get why Manisa is the way she is, obviously, but it's extreme. I do less. It's not, it is that deep, but like, let's move on. I think this is the last one. No, it's not. So next is Wicked Always Wins. That one's a shout to my girl Zelina, and that one is to mention a book featuring sibling rivalry. I have two for this one. One is one I mentioned previously. Yes, The Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty. Specifically, like I said, not just the series, but this book. There's that whole unnecessarily long rivalry between Alizade and Dearie, which, you know, put a big rift between the relationship and made me really upset because I love their relationship and how Montedir is like the only one that's like really out to protect Alizade. And now in book 3, I'm just like, see, if you two had just talked to each other, we wouldn't be in this situation. At least maybe not this aggressively, you know. And I also have Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. Ara and Afia, is that her sister's name? Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. I'm just thinking about that one part. You know, if you read the book, you know what I'm thinking about. And just 1-800 choke that hoe. Oh look, I finally took it out so I can find my notes. I can finally find my notes to make candles. I should leave this out. And last prompt, I guess, is Sorry I'm Late. Sorry I'm Late, which is a book that ripped out your heart and destroyed your happiness. If it's the last thing it's gonna do. Sorry. I shall destroy your happiness if it's the last thing I do. You should not be surprised by the two that I'm choosing. Wild Savage Stars by Christina Perez. I've talked on end about how much this book hurt me and exactly why it hurt me. And Night of the Dragon by Julie Kagawa. I cried for most of this book. And I also have talked on end about just how much and exactly how and why this book hurt me. But I cried for most of this book. It's so short and small, but what a conclusion, you know? These are two series that I don't understand why they're not as hyped up the way I hype them up. Why people are sleeping on both of these series, but you know, Y'all have no taste. So that is my Once Upon a Time book haul, my Once Upon a book haul, Once Upon a Time book tag, my Once Upon a book tag. I was gonna tag people, but I don't know who's into this show. So if you're into Once Upon a Time and you're watching this, please do this video and make sure to send it to me when you do, so I can watch it and we can squeal and fangirl over once together, because I always need more people to watch my show. But thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me, feel free to subscribe. Let me know, if you watch once, who your favorite character is and why it's Killian Jones. Sorry. All my places are down here so you can follow me, and I'll follow you back, and I'll see you very soon. All magic comes with a price, dearie.